She's in the back of the vehicle. She's not in the driver's seat. It looks suspicious to me.
Yeah.
Vehicle's upside down. Some of the one window is halfway down. One window is all the way down. Whew. Call the authorities.
So you've just listened to the famous words of Nick Rinn after finding Kiely Rodni, where she'd basically been for around 2 weeks because law enforcement, using equipment very similar to what Adventures with Purpose have themselves, failed to find her car. The 15 feet long piece of metal that was in approximately 14 feet of water, they didn't see it because they were looking left when they should have been looking right, perhaps. Who knows? But they didn't see it, and it was up to Adventures with Purpose to find this poor girl. And look, since finding this poor girl, there's been a dividing of the masses. There's lots of people who fully support Adventures with Purpose, and so rightly they should, because of the work that they do to bring closure to many, many families across the states. And then you've got the others who feel that these are clout chasers, drama queens, just out there to raise money. I saw a video that someone sent me kindly, an email, and it was, I'm not even going to mention the channel, I'm sure some of you have seen it, but it is of somebody who was talking about Adventures with Purpose, and they're saying about the fact that their business model is to make them look poor so people feel sorry for them and donate and do all this, that and the other. And I think to myself, look poor? They look like one of the most, sophisticated dive teams out there. They don't look poor. That's an idiotic thing to say. But anyway, I digress. But look, it's been said that this was a tragic accident. No foul play. There's no evidence to support foul play whatsoever. So if that's the case, then we have to look at the accident itself, the mechanics of that accident. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So what we're going to take into consideration now is that the statements made from the people who were with Kiely that night were accurate. So she had indeed been out, she had been drinking, and it would appear that she was mixing specific things with the alcohol. So she was smoking, she was drinking, and she was taking Delta 9. And we know that Delta 9 is quite potent. It can cause hallucinations, things like that. It's not great. And it certainly can impair judgment. So look, that's something that would support the fact that if she jumped in the car, she may have not been compos mentis and it could have resulted in an accident, okay? Now, what we're not going to do in this video, because I did it earlier in a video today, is talk about why it may not have been an accident. This is just about the mechanics of if it was an accident. So look, she's had these substances and she's got in the car. Now, has she got in a car on her own? Because what we're saying is she was originally going to take people home, but she didn't, so she's on her own. Elsa saw her walk to the car apparently, and she got in her car. Now, it would appear that she didn't go the right way out of there, and that may have been because the road was blocked. We are told by Elsa that the road was blocked, so you couldn't have gone out the normal way. So it would have forced her to go the other way. Now, what I will say is, and what is important to understand, is that Kiely was native to the area. She knew her way about. She wasn't a stranger. She wasn't someone visiting. She wasn't one of the kids from Sparks or Rena or out, somewhere else. She was a trucky girl. She was lived just down the road. So she knew this area, and it's highly likely that this is somewhere that they frequented. And the fact that she went the other way proves that she knew there was another way out. But she could have been under the influence of things that could have affected her judgment. So she's in the car, and this road, we've been told, is hard to navigate. It's difficult terrain, and other people recently, leading up to when Kiely was on there, had themselves damaged their car on the same piece of ground. It was stated by the people around Kiely. That's a fact. A guy had, grounded his car down there, but Kiely managed to navigate it and get through it. So it's either because she's familiar with it, she knew how to drive it, so regardless of whether she was under any influence, it wasn't enough to make her damage her car through there. She knew what she was doing and knew what needed to be done to safely get through it. And she got through it, and she got out the other side. It would appear, if we believe the fire cam footage, that there is a pause. Now, some people are saying she's paused because she's disorientated. She doesn't know whether to go left or whether to go right or whatever. But she pauses. Why does she pause? We don't know. But she does, and then she carries on going down to the water. And again, if you take the fire cam footage into consideration, it would appear that she's travelling at approximately 11 miles an hour, around that sort of speed, which is not very fast. So what we're saying is that at 11 miles an hour, she is driving in a straight line directly towards the water's edge, in a perfect straight line. She's also going to be going downhill, which is she so disorientated that she doesn't realise that she's going downhill. Well, the fact that she maintains that speed would say that she does, because she's going to have to be feathering the brake, feathering the accelerator. She is holding her speed going down there. She has not lost control, doesn't accelerate down the hill. She doesn't seem to lose control. It's just a consistent speed, straight line into the water. So then we've got to imagine she hits the water. She's hit the water. Now, we don't know if this stage whether she's got her seatbelt on or not, but it would appear that she hasn't. There's nothing in the autopsy that says she's got any cuts to her face. So the impact of hitting the water, she surely had a belt on, right? So she's got in the car, she's driven down there, she's got a belt on, so she wasn't so out of it that she didn't know how to put a belt on. So she's put that on and she's hit the water. Now, she obviously on a bit of a clock now because she's in the water. And what do we know happens at that stage? We know that the seatbelt was removed because they weren't in the driver's seat. People obviously looked at the positioning of the driver's seat as well and noted that it was pushed back. Now, that would say to me that before the car was submerged, because there's obviously no resistance there, the car seat, the driver's seat, is pushed back to assist getting out of it. So they've released the belt and they've slid the chair back. And they've managed to do this before it's been submerged enough to cause, like I said, a resistance to stop that chair being moved. And then what they've done is they've gone past the open window. So they've been compass mentis enough to get out of the seatbelt, get the chair back, and start to get out of that. But then they haven't got out of the open window. Kiely has gone straight past an open window that would have been right next to her and that would have got her out of the vehicle. So then the question is, was Kiely that drunk that she ignored an open window to get out of the vehicle and just headed further into the vehicle? What, to chase an air pocket? So what did she think she was going to do? And this is where I then struggle, because I think to myself, yes, she was taking what she was taking. And yes, you can argue that her bearings weren't right. You know, her judgment was off. But again, let's not forget, she managed to drive to where she was. She wasn't driving fast. She managed to get a belt off. She managed to get the chair back out the way, because it's going to give me the room to get out. So why, after all that, would you then go past a window that's open? So I ask again, was somebody else in that car? How do we know 100% that there wasn't anybody else in that car? I want you to tell me down below. I want somebody to tell me down below and be honest that you can 100% say that nobody else was driving that car, that there were not more people in that car. Let's not forget, passenger side window open. Driver side rear window half open, because that's as far down as that will go. What if Kiely was in the back of a car? What if they were trying to open the window, realised it wouldn't go down enough, she couldn't get out, so then she tried to get into the cargo area and got stuck in the cargo area? When I think about this, that makes more sense. And I want somebody to tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. What someone's driving. Let's just say, I'll say it one more time and you tell me which one makes sense. So scenario A, Kiely is driving that car on her own. There's no one else in the car. The rear driver's window is open. The passenger side front window is wound all the way down. Car hits the water. She takes off her seatbelt. She pushes the chair back so she can get out. She goes past the open window to head into the vehicle further, goes past the other window, and then goes into the luggage compartment. And she does this in a matter of minutes, very quickly. So that's what we're saying is scenario A, and she obviously loses her life. Or scenario B is that there are more than Kiely in the vehicle. Someone is driving. Kiely could be in the back. Someone else is in the front, passenger side. They get out. The driver gets out. Or maybe there's just Kiely and one other person in the car. Driver gets out, goes out the window. Kiely being in the back, her time is cut down because the other person was getting out, so they were in the way. And by that time, the car was nearly fully submerged and going over. Kiely couldn't get out of the back window, and so she tried to go into the back to then try and hunt for the air pocket and potentially try and get out of the back hatch. But then you've got to ask, why didn't she go in the front? Or was it because they were simultaneously trying to get out and they both couldn't get out of the same way? Kiely had tried to get out of her window while whoever was in the front was trying to get out of the front window. Make it make sense. Scenario A, scenario B. Did Kiely drive her car all the way from where it was and hit the water and do all that and fail? Or is it plausible to feel that someone else was in that vehicle, at least one other person? Let me know down below. I'm done. I'll see you all tomorrow.